Welcome back. Let's get you some more news from the city. Corruption must come to an end and transparency should take its place, and it's now or never. Well, these are voices within a group called Transparent Chennai that has come out with a final audit report with residents and ward councillors in Indiranagar. In a ward accountability experiment this evening, they had documented locations and sizes of piles of garbage, measured sidewalks and walkability, and mapped public toilets and recorded their conditions. Now, candidates for the post of councillors had met with residents from this ward in a public meeting where some of these results were shared and solutions were also asked for. There will also now be a follow-up on this particular study to double-check whether the councillors have stuck to their promises post-elections. Well, I spoke to the director of Transparent Chennai, Ms. Nithya Raman, about the logistics of this project and the response it has received so far, and here's what she had to tell us.
Each of us, I think, in our individual lives, we experience the city and we experience all the problems in it on an individual level. What this kind of process does is it allows us to aggregate that information and actually make it useful for holding an elected representative or a municipal department accountable for making solutions happen, for solving those problems. The government itself collects data, obviously, right? And we can file RTIs to get that data. Yes. So we can ask them how many dumpsters are in Ward 176, and they'll give us a number. But they'll never be able to tell us how many of those dumpsters are actually useful. Are they upturned? Are they overflowing? Are they broken? This is the kind of data that you're able to get only from citizens and through this kind of an effort. And what this enables you to do, this kind of process, is it aggregates that data and makes it powerful. Citizens they know what's happening in their own wards. And so do councillors to some extent. But what I think everybody realized was the potential of this data. See, in 6 months' time, we're planning to do the exercise again in that ward. And here you have now a legitimate tool to hold that ward councillor accountable for making improvements. Right. If the number of dumpsters has not increased within 6 months, if the walkability of that ward has not improved within 6 months, you have a case to say, look, you haven't kept your promises.
Absolutely.
So it prevents them basically from making empty promises.
Moving ahead into some national updates now. 2 Lashkar militants were killed in a fierce encounter in the forests of Chatargul in Gandarbal district in Kashmir. One AK-47 rifle has been discovered from that scene of action during the firefight at a house where the militants were caught in a fire, in fact, and they were hiding there. It was a joint operation by the police and the army after they got a tip-off about the presence of militants in the area. The encounter began at 7 in the morning and ended late in the afternoon. The body of one militant has been found and another body is still believed to be under the debris. Staying with national updates, after its initial refusal to make the audio recordings of the Lokpal panel public, the government now seems to have a change of heart. It has now agreed to make it public. The audio recordings of proceedings of the Joint Drafting Committee constituted to draft the Lokpal bill, that is. The Department of Personnel and Training had earlier refused to bring out the deliberations of the committee in public domain. In a recent reply, though, to an RTI query, the department has asked the activists to deposit an additional fee for providing the audio recordings of the deliberations. The Gujarat police have suspended and arrested 4 policemen for negligence a day after a key witness in the Shorabadrin fake encounter case, Sylvester Daniel, managed to make a dramatic escape from the police custody. He was nabbed again late last night. The arrested cops include 2 constables, 1 sub-inspector and a commando. Mr. Daniel, an alleged accomplice of Shorabadin, escaped from police custody when he was being taken back from Udaipur to Vadodara after a court appearance, but was nabbed again late last night. Sylvester was in fact spotted by a police team in Udaipur with a fully loaded revolver. Mr. Daniel allegedly belonged to the same extortionist gang as Shorabadin and Tulsi Ram Prajapati, and the CBI believes he knows important facts about the Shorabadin encounter and the subsequent details of the death of his wife, Kausar B.
इसका भागने का या कुछ और इसके बारे में हमको ऐसा कोई आइडिया नहीं था भी ये क्यों भागेगा या पहले से कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन ऐसा हमारे पास कुछ नहीं था। पुलिस के काम में इंसिडेंट बनते हैं। अगर हमको ये जानकारी हो कि ये इंसिडेंट बनने वाला है तो पुलिस पहले ही जाकर उसको दबा देगी।
In a separate development, the Association of IPS Officers in Gujarat has expressed its support for the arrested anti-Modi police IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt. The association passed a resolution on Saturday expressing solidarity with him, following which 3 senior IPS officers visited his family. Civil rights activist Shabnam Hashmi was also present at Sanjeev Bhatt's house when the IPS officers came calling.
देखिए 3 अधिकारी आए थे, अतुल करवल, पारगी और प्रवीण सिन्हा, और ये तीनों ही संजीव भट्ट के बैच के हैं, उनके साथ पढ़े हुए हैं और वो श्वेता बहन से सॉलिडारिटी के लिए आए थे। उन्हें कह के गए हैं कि हम आपके साथ हैं और इस लड़ाई में आप अपने को अकेला ना समझे, जो कुछ होगा हम करेंगे। बिल्कुल फ्रेंडली उस तरह से आए थे, अपनी सॉलिडारिटी उनको देने के लिए।
When we return on this late night edition, is Collywood the next big thing for Miss Piggy Chops after Rawan's action-packed stance? We'll hear it from the beauty herself up on the other side.